Atlanta, where the question is not so much who will stop Jeremy McGrath, but when will it happen? Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Georgia Dome, the site of the 1994 Super Bowl, the 1996 Olympic Games, and hopefully in 1995, the highlight of this year. I'm Art Ekman, along with David Bailey, the former Supercross champion. Tonight, McGrath not only tries to break the record for consecutive victories at the beginning of a season, but also tie the amount of consecutive victories during a season, jointly held by Bob Hanna and Rick Johnson. And of course, the ultimate is becoming the all-time winningest Supercross rider.
I wish you'd hurry up and do it. I'm getting tired of all this record stuff. Jeremy, could you just go out there and get it over with so we have something else to talk about? I think for him to win more than 28 races and become the all-time winningest is a definite possibility. I'll put my money on it. We're not even halfway into the season. He's already won 5. But for him to win 6 in a row and be the most string in a season, it's tougher because each time he wins another one, the odds stack against him, and the other riders get a little more sick of it, and the press is pulling him in every direction. That's going to be really tough.
If he should win more than 28 races by the end of this season, would that make him the greatest rider of all time?
Well, no, I don't think you can say that. I think that there was a lot of riders that were great in their time, but he's definitely the greatest in this era. There's no question. But I think Bob Hanna was the greatest of his era. Possibly Rick Johnson was the greatest of his era.
David Bailey and his.
Well, yeah, I like this guy. Well, I think we all were, but we're never going to get to see it. You know, we're not going to all be the same age, on the same day, on the same bike. It'd be a great race, though.
It does create a lot of conversation. As we roamed the pits today, we talked to some of the veterans about who they thought was the greatest of all time.
I think really it's a toss-up between Bob Hanna and Ricky Johnson, and probably, I guess we would give the nod to Ricky Johnson.
Rick Johnson was a great Supercross rider. I was a great Supercross rider, I think. But on my best day, on Rick Johnson's best day, neither one of us could hold a candle to Jeremy McGrath. Just being an all-around rider, not saying Supercross, not saying Motocross, I'd have to say Roger DeCoster.
Well, I think the greatest at this point is Bob Hanna. You know, he proved that he can do it outdoors and Supercross right now. But you got to certainly look at McGrath for the future.
I think overall, if you combine Supercross and the outdoor races, I think Jean-Michel Bayle was probably the most talented.
You know, we have Jeremy McGrath right now that looks fabulous indoors, but struggles a little bit on the outdoors. And Ricky Johnson he's right up there, but not as much natural talent. So the all-around, I'd have to go with Jean-Michel Bayle.
Stay tuned to see Jeremy McGrath's assault on the all-time Supercross record book. 125s are taking their parade lap. Number 43, Kevin Windham, and the other future stars of this sport hoping that they'll be next in the line of great champions. And David Bailey, the red Georgia clay, awaits these riders.
Well, this is a lot different than what we've seen so far. Here's a look at the Suzuki track map. It looks pretty much the same as what we've seen all year, but the difference here in Atlanta is the soil. It's very soft and it gets very rutted, which makes those obstacles a lot tougher.
On that red clay, Jan Beekes.
Art, with all the rain that hit the Atlanta area over the last 2 or 3 weeks, the soil that's used inside the Georgia Dome here is very, very soft. And as a result, you're seeing some ruts develop. This is a very deep rut, and this could catch a foot peg or actually take a rider's boot right off of that peg. But next door here, these are the kind of ruts the riders really worry about. 2 ruts very close together. The front wheel could track through here, then the rear wheel taking the rut just to the left. That's called cross-rutting. If a rider gets in and gets his bike cross-rutted, a lot of times it flips him right over the handlebars. The guy that rides these ruts best tonight will be the one we'll be interviewing up on the victory stand. Art?
Thanks, Jan. The 125 riders are getting anxious for that gate to drop. They're trying to stay loose. They've got their race faces on, even some beginning to visualize the start of the race. You see Jimmy Neese there taking some specks of dirt out of his eyes before getting the goggles on. The riders on the end of the gate, well, they're just happy to make the field, being last chance qualifiers as we look at the Suzuki starting grid. Tim Ferry along with Mikel Pichon, both contenders for the title, of course, and Kevin Windham also in that 3-way points race.
Very impressed with Kevin Windham. He's showing a lot of maturity in his first season in the Supercross. And we should also watch for Michael Pichon, who's been riding the 250s out west, running up in the top 10. Very impressive, and he's going to bring that strength back to the 125.
Tied with Windham in the points race with Ferry not behind. This is the tightest points race in Supercross right now. The race for the whole shot. All the contenders in the top 5 got a good break. Rider down, I believe that's Greg Rand who fell down at mid-pack there. Windham got the whole shot. Davey Yezik, a surprising start here for him, number 37. That's Brown, Mike Brown, number 26, as Yezik accelerates by him. But Kevin Windham wants to establish the momentum right now.
Well, I think the guys he fears the most have to be Tim Ferry and Michael Pichon. These guys are pretty much buried in the pack right now. Great opportunity for Wyndham to possibly pick up his first win.
Wyndham, Jezik, Brown. There you see Ferry, number 23, inching into the picture. Pichon is right with Ferry, number 101 on the Kawasaki.
Right, they're pretty close, but they still got to get around a few riders before they catch up to Wyndham.
Wyndham pulling a little lead, and those riders behind him will not be easy to get around. They're experienced and good riders. Jezik with a lot of acceleration. Brown with a lot of savvy. A good outdoor rider as well. We'll be back with more 125 action from Atlanta, Georgia in a moment. This edition of Power Wheels on ESPN.
Cut across, you know, he does. I like the way he rides. He's a little bit like McGrath in that he never follows. You can see him. He's always looking for some way to get around somebody, a different line, and that's what makes people successful. They're able to ride a little bit more versatile. He's possibly brought some of the experience from the 250 class.
We're seeing the battle for fourth place. Pichon trying to get by Davey Jezik. Jezik with another great start. He's shown some good sprinting power this year. And Pichon just trying to figure out a way to get up tight as Kevin Wyndham, our leader. The Suzuki Field Summary down in the bottom part of our screen. You can pick your favorite rider out.
Looks like a pretty technical track. You see right there, Brown just cases it on the face of that. It looks like these track designers have really given these guys options. And that's what Pichon is trying to figure out right now. And I don't think he's found his flow, and you can see it. He's making little mistakes, sliding out, losing his momentum. And if he doesn't find his groove pretty quick, these leaders are going to be gone.
Kevin Wyndham, our leader, but he's got some Chargers in back of him right now. Brown pushing on Ferry. Brown, number 26, Honda of Troy.
Well, Wyndham out front while all this is going on, just riding a relaxed pace, and sometimes that's dangerous. You get out there and you get comfortable, and you maintain a little lead for a while, but once these guys pick up the pace, if they're able to catch up, it's really hard to adjust and start riding more aggressive. We'll see if that happens. Apparently right now, Wyndham is checked out.
You saw Ferry having some problems right there. This is a tremendous course for timing.
Well, it's the timing and also the ruts. The ruts that are in the face of most of these jumps, which is very difficult to pick up from this angle, really make things tough because you find yourself in one side of the track and you kind of want to be on the other, and you've always got to choose a rut. Also, the dirt here is really tacky. You almost don't even need to use the brakes, and it really kills your momentum when you make a mistake.
Here comes 101, Pichon. Brown to the inside. Pichon just not quite enough to catch up with Brown. But he's putting the heat on him right now.
Well, he's trying everything he possibly can to get around these guys. I've never seen him make quite as many mistakes. He's on the gas. Look at this big double he jumps. He's not really going to gain that much time. He's got to go wide and hopes he'll have more momentum coming out of the corner. It looks like he does. Brown made a mistake and left the door open. Nothing he could do to retaliate there.
Pichon the inside, and whoa, Brown spreads the hay a little bit as Pichon moves into third place. So we've got Kevin Wyndham running rather conservative out front right now. Tim Ferry in second. There's Wyndham, number 43.
Well, now it looks like we got the three fastest guys running in the top three spots. Here's another look at the pass by Pichon. This is actually towards the end. He'd already basically made the pass, but he just took the line away from Mike Brown. Nothing he could do, and Mike Brown doing a pretty good job of blowing apart the hay bale. You know, sometimes the ribbon in that hay bale can catch on your foot peg. I've had it happen to me before. He was lucky to get away from there clean.
Kevin Wyndham with about a 5-second lead now as Pichon is trying to catch up with Ferry right behind them.
You see Wyndham right there jumping that big double. He's able to do it and make the inside. I think that's the difference. Right there you get a shot of Pichon jumping it. Still refuses to follow. You see the different line choice out there, and that's the only way you're going to get around somebody is by looking for a new way around the track.
These two are only 5.5 seconds in back of the leader, and we've got a real battle going on. Pichon out jumps Ferry that time. He goes wide, but he's got good momentum.
Well, Ferry squared right back underneath him, and it looks like he's going to control the inside here, back and forth. You know, right now it looks like most of the time when you get a battle like this, you sort of slow each other down because you're riding pretty defensive. But I think these guys are actually pumping each other up, and I would expect to see him catch Wyndham.
We might get a better idea of interval now with our Honda stopwatch as Wyndham goes by and the clock ticks away. It looks like about a 5-second lead over Ferry and Pichon, and then a big gap after the four riders out front.
Mike Brown still hanging on to Ferry and Pichon pretty good. I don't know if he can hang on to that pace very long, but he's doing a good job so far.
Jezik 36 and 16. Dob started in 15th place and has made a good run as we see Jim Neese go by, number 45. Into the whoops right now is James Eichel from Grove City, Ohio, number 700. His best start of the season. He's up at least in the top 10.
Back to that battle for second place. Pichon and Ferry still back and forth. You see the different options these guys have. Right there, the inside move by Pichon. Pretty sneaky.
Well, both these riders now have totally regained their rhythm on this track.
Well, it's a tough track to maintain a rhythm. You can see there's so many different options. You go inside, you can't jump all. I see Ferry's able to double through there. It's one of the most technical tracks I've seen so far this year, and because of the ruts, it just adds a little extra twist to the whole thing.
Pichon and Ferry getting closer to our leader, Kevin Windham. Pichon jumping the triple. Not many are doing that. Certainly not Windham. As we take a look at our Suzuki Field summary, there's one rider we won't see in that summary, and that's number 22, Robbie Raynard. He underwent shoulder surgery to correct that problem he had. Injured in the first race of the year, Orlando. Windham our leader, but Ferry Pichon on the move. And we don't know if he's going to finish it yet, but let's go to Jan Bekas, who's down in the mechanics area.
Kevin got a great start, but now it looks like Pichon is on the move. Are you worried about Pichon?
Yeah, he's coming up a little fast. All we got to do is do this right-hand triple, and I think we're running about the same pace. So we got to just do this triple here.
Now, what we just saw in your face when he went like that, was that because he did a double and not the triple?
Yeah. He screwed up in a turn, and he didn't get the drive, so he didn't jump it.
So thanks.
Our leader still Kevin Windham, but Pichon, as you see him on the outside, is closing in. He knocked off 3 seconds in one lap.
Well, you see he's got all these different lines. He can go anywhere and jump anything. Pichon, really versatile, makes that pass stick.
Our new leader, number 101, Mikel Pichon. He has one career victory. That was 2 years ago when he was running part-time on the American scene.
We're going to get another look at it. You see Pichon doing that double into the corner. See, Windham's kind of in a tough situation. If he was to double into the corner, possibly Pichon would go in there and steal the inside. But as a result, Pichon gets all that momentum. He comes out of the corner with speed. He's able to do that double and just take the line away. Excellent move. He set it up way back, and it paid off.
Pichon, our leader. Windham now being pursued by Ferry. That would certainly tighten up the points race even further. Windham to the inside, but Ferry, they touch as they come across the finish line jump.
Windham did a nice job of getting him right back. You know, sometimes when a guy passes you, if you can get him right back, it just throws him all out of his rhythm. Now he's got to figure out somewhere else to make that move. Hopefully Windham will learn his lesson. He won't leave the door open there again.
Good shot of the mentor of Kevin Windham, Bob Hanna, looking from the sideline. He's got to be as nervous as Windham right now. Ferry, though, very confident rider. He's picking his spot with the lapper there.
Well, you know, the other thing, too, is it's a little less wear on your nerves when you're coming from behind. You have a lot less to lose, and it's apparent to me that Windham has done a great job leading, but he's always had that pressure on him, and it's difficult. This is a young kid. It's his first season, only his third Supercross, and he led it a long ways, but, you know, something you can't really teach a guy is how to handle that pressure, but the best guy to be on his side is Bob Hanna.
Tim Ferry now in second place with Windham in third, and without any mistakes, Windham will hit the podium because he has a big lead on the rest of the pack.
Pichon already starting to wave to the crowd. A fine ride for him. He had to earn this one. He diced it with Ferry back and forth, took the measure of him, and he's pulled away. It looks like he's going to take this victory. I don't see anyone challenging.
Honda of Troy riders a little further back. Mike Brown has gone down, and James Dobb now has moved in front of him into fourth place as we watch Mikel Pichon, number 101, put this one away.
You know, in the early lap guard, I was watching Pichon, and he just looked out of control, and I wouldn't have guessed that he was going to come through the pack like this, but he did a nice job. He settled down into a good pace, and he can just about coast home now.
Pichon the checkers, his first win of the season. As I said, his second of his career. Tim Ferry to tighten up the points race in second place. Windham coming across the line in third.
But a very convincing win for Michael Pichon. You know, I mentioned earlier that he's been riding the 250 out west, running in the top 10, and I think that helped him bring a lot of strength to this 125 division.
A second in the opening round, a third in the second round, and a win here in the third round in Atlanta, Georgia. Ferry, Windham, Dobb, and Brown, the top 5. I can hardly wait to see that boyish smile telling the world in English now how he's adapting.
That was a great ride. You didn't get the start that you wanted, but then you really moved through the field. What made the difference?
Yeah, I trained a lot since 2 weeks, and because I was not really ready for the first race, so now I feel very good. I ride like last year because I broken my wrist last year and I was not very good at the beginning. So now I feel very good, and I hope win every race like this. Even with the best start, I can win. So now I'll try to start better and win much race as possible.
Tell me about the triple jump over here. It looked like most people were doubling, but you were tripling. Did that make a big difference?
Yeah, it's a big difference because I won a lot of time on this triple, but my Kawasaki is really good, and I pass the triple very easy every lap. So it's me and my Kawasaki. That's it.
Well, congratulations. Your English is getting good.
Yeah, it's much better, but I must work again.
Thanks.
So thank you.
The Suzuki 125 East point standings. Pichon with a 5-point lead over Wyndham, still in second place, just 2 in front of Ferry. The support race is history. We've got the 250s coming up after this break. And one of the most exciting bar bangers we've seen in a long time. Johnny O'Mara, number 9, got the whole shot, but he wasn't out there for long.
Rick Johnson with that lucky number 13, just off your screen, number 20, Matasevich off the racetrack as Bradshaw takes the lead. Watch Stanton off the track as well. All these guys having lots of problems. Cooper looking for his first Supercross win. Jumps his way past Bradshaw into the lead, but he didn't last long. Watch right here, he's going to stall it. Everybody goes by.
There goes Bradshaw. There goes Johnson.
Watch right here. Kudrowski, the big nosedive, takes Bradshaw right off the racetrack. It keeps on going. Drags the banners along with him, melts the rear brake, can't stop. Boom, off the track.
Kudrowski learning a lesson there. Here's Cooper out in front. Don't forget number 3 back there, though.
That's Jeff Ward. He's watching these guys battle, and if they make a mistake, he's got the upper hand. Johnson trying to make a comeback after the wrist injury, gets passed by Guy Cooper. And then after the long loop section, Jeff Ward up the inside, finds a weakness, the same place Cooper made the pass. Then he does the same thing to Cooper.
Cooper wisely backs off. Wardy's got the momentum, takes the lead, and the victory. One of his 20 career Supercross wins, Jeff Ward. Heat number 1 of the 250s here in Atlanta, just about set to get underway. It's an 8-lap race, top 4 bikes advancing directly to the main event. The remaining contenders go to the semifinal round. Heat number 1 brought to you by Suzuki. And it's a big one with Lusk, Ward, Larocco, Henry, Swink. Big names there.
Oh, you bet. It's practically a main event without McGrath.
Ezra Lusk, the yellow bike in the middle, number 24, gets the whole shot. He was the winner here in last year's 125 class. Ward, Dement, Larocco, Swink, Henry, Hughes, all up there.
Ezra Lusk with the early lead, sat out San Diego to heal up his foot. He's going quick here, but he wasn't quick enough for a charging Larry Ward.
Actually, he had surgery to remove a bone chip from that right ankle. Larry Ward, after staging a great battle with Lusk, took on Mike Larocco.
These are the 2 riders battling for the number 2 spot in the series, and Larry Ward gives him the shoulder and shows him who's boss in heat number 1.
Larry Ward, the checkers, for his 4th straight qualifying heat victory. Doug Henry, a very good race as Craig, Hughes, Huffman, Lusk, they had to go to the semis because Ward, Larocco, Henry, and Swink will be going to the main event. Heat number 2 featured Jeremy McGrath, and he's wearing a helmet cam. As we see right here, Lamson got the whole shot. Lawrence cut in front of him.
And you can see right there, tight quarters for McGrath. That's the advantage to getting out front. Dowd goes by. He's getting bounced around like a pinball. Great angle. It's about as close as you can get without getting roosted. We don't have to take any risks up here.
Greg Albertine also, it's good to see him up near the front of the pack as Lamson gets stalled in our heat number 2 highlights. McGrath out in front, Lamson passing Dowd. McGrath would win another qualifying heat. He hasn't lost one yet this year, but the real battle was for second place. Lamson number 5 and John Dowd number 14 with Kudrowski on the move, number 7 behind the 2.
Watch Kudrowski here. He moves up to the inside of Dowd, and he doesn't leave him a whole lot of room. Pretty good job by Dowd to save him. But meanwhile, up front, it was all Jeremy McGrath. Check out that angle.
Lamson 2nd. Kudrowski made the pass for 3rd. Albertine, Emig, Lawrence, plus the rest of the field had to go to the semifinals as we see our Heat 2 results posted there. 5 laps, the top 5 out of each semifinal round going to the main event, and in semifinal number 1 it was Ezra Lusk getting the quick start with Michael Craig number 19 and Damon Huffman right there number 12, and Huffman lost it in spectacular style. It kind of stopped the hearts of his fans and friends as his bike went spiraling through the air.
That was pretty scary. He lost the handlebars, and the last thing he let go of was the throttle. That bike went on a wild ride as Lusk took the win, followed by Craig.
Huffman would not come back for the last chance qualifying effect. His 125 buddy right here, Ryan Hughes, making the field. Plus Craig Hughes Stevenson in his first race since coming back from an injury, along with Todd DeHoop. Advancing to the main, semifinal number 2. It was Emig out in front. Greg Albertine posting one of his finest 5-lap rounds. Albertine with the number 111, each one signifying a world championship win, and Emig made easy meat of it.
It was all Emig trying to get something started, get the crowd into it, and probably get himself pumped up. He hasn't had that kind of success in the heat races, so he's taking it to the semi, trying to get pumped for the main.
Greg Albertine, one of his finer heat performances in the semifinal after coming off the injury early in the season. Lawrence, Palmer, and Antonez going directly to the main. Jeff DeMent getting the KTM into the main event after the last chance qualifying round. Next, the 250 main. For the main event in the 250s here in Atlanta, Georgia. Jeremy, of course, approaching the records of Rick Johnson and Bob Hanna. Bob in 11 seasons, 84 races, a great hitting percentage of .321, 27 career victories. Johnson in 10 seasons had 83 races, a great percentage of .325. But look at Jeremy McGrath. In his third season, 35 races, he's hitting .686, David Bailey.
Pretty much off the scale. You know, I mean, it's really hard to say. It doesn't mean that McGrath is that much better than those guys. It's just a different era, different competition, and he's making the most of what he's got to work on.
And the crowd here in Atlanta, Georgia, anticipating another great ride from Jeremy McGrath. Who will be the rider to challenge today? 30-second board is up, and when that goes sideways, you'll hear those machines rev up as we get set for round 6 of Supercross action 1995. We get a look from the Honda helmet cam atop Jeremy McGrath. McGrath not the best of starts. You see Craig, Emig, Henry coming in front of Jeremy. Jeremy looking for some space, looking for the open spot to break out in front. Henry shuts the door.
Boy, not a lot of room right there. You know, this makes me nervous. Boy, this is tight action. I've never seen anything look quite this. I feel like I'm out there, Art.
That's something said from David Bailey, that's for sure.
What an awesome perspective as they do the triple. He looks over to the next to him. I think that's Lamson, and McGrath's getting past here in these first few corners.
Okay, we've got Craig 19. That's Henry 4, Ward 11, Emig 6, then Jeremy McGrath, Lamson number 5, and that's Swink number 10. All in a big battle. Albertine number 111 in that order. So Albertine in decent position now. Jeremy, true to his philosophy of an immediate charge, has moved already into third.
Look at how high they get off the triple. Oh, almost into the back end of Henry there.
Henry to his left as you see McGrath taking off, and oh, he lands on top of Craig. Jeremy McGrath is down. What a big break for the rest of the field as Jeremy, his engine was still running. He's up and running now in 7th position. Not too bad for Jeremy McGrath. Craig is still trying to get it going now. There you see Jeremy McGrath taking on Mike Kudrowski and Todd DeHoop number 25.
Boy, he didn't even miss a beat. He's right back up to speed. It appears, though, Art, as he's not affected at all by that crash.
Jeremy McGrath, number 1, up and running, and Mike Kudrowski, who started way back in 11th, is moving up. Taking on Jeremy McGrath right now. Our new leader is Henry with Ward and Emig.
We'll get another look now at this first lap incident with McGrath. Boom, he jumps the double into the back of Craig. I think McGrath thought Craig would have squirted out of there and he'd have just enough room to squeak by. He had just passed Henry. Now Craig's looking down. Big impact in the back of his bike. No telling what could be wrong there.
McGrath trying to get back into the fray as Henry is our leader with Larry Ward in 2nd and Emig in 3rd. All 3 fast riders as Emig, as you see him coming over the finish line jump.
What an opportunity right now for Larry Ward, who's been getting faster and faster every week, holding down 2nd in the points. If he can get around Henry and pick up his first win of the season, he can put a lot of points on right there. Number 1, McGrath, who's still buried in the pack.
He's passed a couple of riders already, but he's got Kudrowski in back of him and LaRocco in front of him. That's not the usual position this year.
I don't think LaRocco's been in front of McGrath the whole season.
Here's Henry, our leader. Henry yet to be on the 250 podium, actually. And Ezra Lusk, once again, he's out of the race, going down on lap number 3.
That's a bad break for him. He looks hurt. He looks disappointed, but I think most of all, he looks hurt. He can't even get off the track by himself.
His first race back after surgery on that ankle to take the bone chip out. It's been nagging him all along, but falling down like that. Here's the big move by Jeremy McGrath on the LaRocco. McGrath now takes on teammate Lamson and Swink in front of him. Oh, what a comeback for Jeremy.
Well, it doesn't appear like you can do anything to stop this guy. I would have thought that crash would have affected him. Apparently it didn't. He's on the charge, not that far away from the leaders.
I'm surprised it didn't affect his machine more like it did Michael Craig as we go back to the Honda helmet cam.
This is Jeremy's look at the track. You can see the ruts there, making this technical track even tougher as he sets his sights on Lamson and Swink.
And thanks to Honda, we're getting this perspective as he goes over the triple and looking for his move. Jeremy McGrath with the Honda helmet cam moves to the inside and then to the outside, passing 2 riders. Jeremy McGrath is on a tear, and we'll be back with more action after these words. The Georgia Dome in Atlanta is Doug Henry leading the 250 main event. Larry Ward and Jeff Emig, 1, 2, and 3 in this race. They've pulled a little space with Jeremy McGrath and the rest of the pack.
Well, Jeremy lurks back there in 4th. These front 3 riders are riding pretty fast. Larry Ward has been getting stronger every week. I'm surprised he hasn't been able to put pressure on Henry yet.
David, the ruts look like they're really gouging out now.
It gets tough, and here's a look at what happened with Mike Craig's bike.
Looks like they pulled the pipe off. Let's go down to Jan Beekes and find out.
Mike, what happened out there? The first lap I got the start. I was really happy with that. I don't know exactly. I kind of screwed up in this corner here. I slowed down a little bit too much, and Jeremy hit me, tore my pipe off my motor, and it's over.
Man, it was a great start, so it actually tore the pipe right off the bottom of the motor there.
Yeah, it's just going off the bottom, and nothing I could do. No power. I would have tried, but nothing.
Well, we'll see you next time. Sorry.
Thank you.
Tough break from Michael Craig as we see Doug Henry out in front. Henry has 4 fifth-place finishes on the season. He'd be higher in the points if it wasn't for a broken handlebar in Minnesota.
Right. I think Henry's got a lot more that he can show us than he's been able to show us so far. And this is a great look at him out in the lead. He's still been able to hang on to it, but look at this. McGrath, who was back there in 4th, has closed the gap quick.
And it's against an old rival of his, Emig, in 3rd place. Let's see about the timing. It looked a little rough on that one, almost cased it.
Well, his timing does look a little bit off, Marty. You know what? All that excitement, those first few laps with the crash, it takes a lot of energy, and perhaps now it's taken its toll.
Emig getting a pretty good drive out of that corner into the straightaway as we take a look at the leader now. Henry, Ward in 2nd, Emig in 3rd, and Jeremy is right there. Emig has had a rather unimpressive 7th place finishes his last couple of races. He's made the podium only 1 time this year. That was in Anaheim. But he's in good position here. Jeremy McGrath trying to pick up the slack, though. McGrath going to the inside. Emig! Oh, they almost touched. Emig, let's go to his mechanic and Jan.
Steve, Jeff is in a battle for 3rd place. Do you think he's saving anything for the end?
Yeah, I think he's been in a position to watch some of them guys. And Jeremy's behind him. You know, I think the ruts are getting deeper. They're all having trouble, I think. You know, right now, it's just a matter of who can make the least mistakes.
Where do you think they're having the trouble right now?
Majority of it is all because of the ruts. It's getting deeper. The lines are changing. They're going to have to start looking around and seeing what's out there.
Thanks.
What a perfect shot from the Honda helmet cam, too, to show us those ruts, David.
Right. You see Jeremy right there electing to go just a little bit wide and not choose that rut, but still his timing appears to be off, Mark.
And it's showing on the stopwatch as well. He's losing time to Emig as we take a look at the Honda track cam. And the Kawasaki's now are starting to pick up on Jeremy McGrath.
You know, it's kind of funny that McGrath he crashed. He's had all the problems he's had, and he's still ahead of both Kawasaki riders. Those guys have really got to get on the stick if they're going to get anything started in this series.
There you see Ward, Emig, and now McGrath coming into the picture as they go through a very difficult whoop section. Jeremy not taking him with the speed he did earlier.
Well, what's making it tough is that rut through the middle. You see him wobbling all back and forth, kind of like Minnesota, but it's even tougher because this dirt's so sticky as you see him do the triple there.
Gives you an idea, a great idea, of the impact that these riders absorb when they're doing all the jumping from our Honda helmet cam.
And as they land, the soil kind of soaks up all the momentum. I mentioned before, you don't even really need to use the brakes. And here's another look at Doug Henry, who's still maintaining a pretty comfortable cushion over Larry Ward.
David, I think this is a testimony to his endurance so far, because Henry has had some problems along those lines, finishing numerous times in 5th place.
And I'm a little surprised at Larry Ward not able to close that gap. They've been about the same the whole race. Perhaps as the ruts get deeper, it becomes a real task for Larry Ward to keep his feet out of there. I know he's pretty tall, and I always had a problem with that, getting my feet hung up in those ruts.
Look at the rut as they go around there. Emig slowing down big time to make sure that he doesn't cross up.
You know, you get crossed up in those ruts, and the other thing too is you get in there deep, and sometimes you drag the foot pegs and you lose momentum, and you even could drop the chain. So you got to ride the front wheel kind of high on the wall to keep more ground clearance.
Our Suzuki field summary now as we run down the list. Albertine in 9th. Hughes, a 125 rider, into 10th place. Henry still our leader. We'll be back with all the exciting action in a moment. Bailey and Jan Bigas from the Georgia Dome in Atlanta as we see the 250 action from the point of view of our Honda helmet cam atop the lid of Jeremy McGrath. He's not used to looking to the back of Jeff Emig.
Well, it's pretty late in the race, Art, and McGrath is still behind all these guys. He caught him quick, but he hasn't been able to make a move yet.
Doug Henry over the jump first. Jeff Emig. What happened to Ward? Ward was on the left side of that track shot. Let's check the order. Here's Henry 4 with Emig really picking up the interval. Jeremy McGrath is 3rd. Ward must have cased it.
He must have not been able to do the triple. We'll see if we can get another angle. Oh, he clips the back of Emig right there. Unable to do the triple. Loses a lot of ground. Now McGrath picks up the number 3 spot.
Ward is back to 6th now as Emig makes his move on Doug Henry. Can he take over first place on this turn? Cuts inside of Henry. Good position for Emig. And Henry had to slow down.
Oh, he lost his timing right there in that section of the road right there. Henry goes behind McGrath on the inside. I don't know if McGrath appreciates him. Look over. He's like, what are you trying to do?
It looked like what McGrath did to Michael Craig earlier in the race.
A little taste of his own medicine there.
So Jeff Emig is out in front with McGrath in 2nd and Doug Henry in 3rd and the Kawasaki's in 4th and 5th. Look out. They're in good position now.
Boy, this is shaping up to be a great battle right there. McGrath running in 2nd. Here's another look at what happens. McGrath jumps over Henry, and then Henry jumps over. Oh, McGrath looks up at him. That was close. He could have come right down on his shoulder. That was scary. Here's another angle from McGrath. Oh, look how close that is. A handlebar in the shoulder. That could take him out for the season. And you see McGrath look over at Henry as if to say, hey, don't get that close to me.
Emig in good position now. He's looking at his first ever 250 Supercross victory if he can hang on and beat Jeremy McGrath, who's now given him some heat. What a race this has become.
McGrath cases on the outside of that jump, charges back up the inside, and it looks like Emig runs him into the hay bales. McGrath back up the inside, forces him wide, and takes over the lead.
Losing his timing, McGrath. Emig puts the throttle down. He boxes him out and takes the lead back.
Boy, this is great. No one's been able to challenge McGrath like this, and who better to do it than Emig? These guys in the past haven't really appreciated each other, and right now they're doing battle. This is great.
This is easily our most exciting race of the year. Emig. He was more concerned with McGrath, it looked like.
Well, I think he thought McGrath was going to come in there and take him out, so he paused, and that lets Kedrowski into 2nd. Now Kedrowski into the picture, and he seems to be on the charge.
Kedrowski's got good momentum as he takes on Jeremy McGrath. Makes the pass on McGrath and Emig. Oh, we've got a great battle now between Emig and Kedrowski.
And McGrath just went from 1st to 3rd right there as he jumps the triple and almost gets the back end of Emig. This is the best battle I've seen in a long time. You've got like 5 guys still right here with a chance to win with LaRocco kind of the caboose right now.
Kedrowski, this is easily his best run of the year. Let's go to Jan.
Brian, have you ever seen a move like that? That was amazing.
Well, it's early. We'll see. Yeah, he changed his technique a little bit.
What's he doing different?
He's racing the track, not the riders.
Thanks, Brian.
Well, I think he should have been doing that all along, Art, but it's not too late to start, and it sure is paying off right now.
Yeah, he passed Henry, McGrath, and Emig in 1 lap as we take a look at the field here. It's so tightly bunched. Kedrowski the leader, Emig in 2nd, McGrath 3rd. And LaRocco, number 2 on the inside, 4th.
He's still got Henry right back there, and you see Lunas reminding his rider to race the track. Things are looking good right now, but he's still got a freight train of talent breathing down his neck. There's 7 laps to go.
Emig picking up the slack. There goes LaRocco cutting inside. Could not quite take Jeremy McGrath at that time, but leaps over Jeremy. Now who comes out of the turn first? Jeremy with the edge. Oh, a great rivalry battle underway between 1 and 2. LaRocco to the inside. He will take over 3rd position.
A momentary lapse of concentration for McGrath there. Another mistake in the whoops. He's lucky to stay on the racetrack. Around the corner slow. He's just completely out of rhythm right now.
Losing valuable seconds as LaRocco, Emig, and Kedrowski are blasting away out front.
You see there on the triple, Emig looked over at LaRocco and kind of cut him off. LaRocco says, "Here, take that." Now he's taking the second place away from Emig and sets his sights on his teammate.
LaRocco with a good elbow to get free of Emig right now has moved into second place. Mike Kudrowski still your leader, and we see Jeremy McGrath is all the way back to 5th. Here's Jeremy.
Here's another look at that exchange through the whoop section. These guys flow right by both sides of McGrath. Well, he's just going backwards right now, and Kudrowski looking sharper than he's looked all season.
It's Kudrowski and Mike LaRocco right behind him. What does Mike LaRocco Sr. have to say? Jan Beekes is with him now.
Mike, this is one of the best races we have seen for a long time. Is there enough time for Mike to catch his teammate?
There's enough time, and I don't want to put my foot in my mouth, so I'm not going to say, but I think so.
You look confident to me. You think you can do it?
You bet.
Once again, we've got the inter-team rivalry going on, and look at LaRocco. He's picking it up on Mike Kudrowski. LaRocco, who earlier in the race looked like he was going to end up in 9th or 10th, has now smoothed it out to challenge the leader. Kudrowski gets him on the corner, negotiates those awful ruts, and goes into the whoop section, the leader.
And look at the lead he put on him right there already. Boy, what aggressive move up the inside. As we take a look back here to McGrath, who's just really dropped off the pace, battling with his teammate. Looks like he gets the edge.
He has to battle his way out of 5th into 4th position there against Doug Henry.
Meanwhile, the leaders have checked out. He's got a long ways to go to try to make the podium tonight.
LaRocco putting that foot out for balance as he leads Mike Kudrowski, his teammate, Emig in 3rd on our Suzuki Field Summary. Take a look at your favorite rider. We'll be back after these words. Round 6 of the U.S. Supercross Series, and Mike LaRocco is out in front here in Atlanta, Georgia. There you see his mechanic and father, Mike LaRocco Sr. with the stopwatch. The Rocket saw his chance. He'd got a 9th place start, and yet the field did not get away from him. What we really can see now from our Honda stopwatch is how far it is back to Jeremy McGrath. It is a 4.2-second lead on Jeremy.
That all happened pretty quick. LaRocco and Kudrowski just came on strong, muscled their way to the front, and they've already put a huge lead on these guys. There you see Larry Ward, who's dropped well off the pace, and despite what they said earlier, Mike Craig right there, number 19, back in the race, trying to get some points. And Greg Albertine, 111, starting to come through now. Kind of off the pace. Pretty good ride for the 125 rider, Ryan Hughes, right there, number 9.
Disappointing one for Lamson, though, who was up in the top 4 there for quite a while, as well as Brian Swink.
Well, the track tonight has just been brutal on everyone. All that commotion in the first couple of laps, and it just took its toll on Steve Lamson.
We're waiting for Mike LaRocco, our leader, who's been on the podium 3 times this year. A 3rd and 2 seconds. This would be his first win, as we see a straggler there, John Dowd. Here is LaRocco. Kudrowski will be behind him. Take away the 2nd in the season's opener, and MK has to be encouraged because he's had a miserable season so far this year. But Mike LaRocco out in front and starting to pull away.
And this is where LaRocco really starts to shine. If these Supercross races were like 50 laps, I think he'd win them all. This is where he really shines. The ruts don't bother him. All the commotion, guys going down everywhere, that doesn't bother him either. He just gets stronger, and so does his teammate, Mike Kudrowski.
MK number 7, still closely followed by Jeff Emig, number 6, who has not faded in this race.
Oh, he hasn't dropped off the pace at all. It's a pretty good ride. You know, he had a lot of pressure, and he did hold the lead for a while, but these guys just had a little extra, and it's looking like a podium for Jeff Emig right now, and that's what he needs. He hasn't had one since Anaheim.
With LaRocco with this kind of lead, it also looks like it's cast in Georgia clay that Jeremy McGrath's 5-race win streak will come to an end.
Oh, that's good, because now we can talk about something else. It'll probably be a little pressure off McGrath, and now he'll quit getting hounded about all these records and just focus on racing.
An encouraging ride for Jeff Emig of Yamaha. The white flag, final lap. LaRocco, he saw his chance on lap 16 and took over the lead, and has extended that lead, trying to nail down his first victory of the year, his 7th of his career.
Well, it looked like McGrath was going to be able to regroup after he crashed. Even after the crash, he still looked pretty fast. He caught up to the leaders, and then his timing was just all off. And that's what everyone's been waiting for, a mistake by McGrath, and they took advantage.
Losing his rhythm, he had to actually fight to get back into 4th position. LaRocco will likely move ahead of Ward in the points race when he takes the checkered flag. Here's Doug Henry. It's been a tough ride for Henry, but he's hung in there.
Well, it was maybe a disappointment, too. He led for so long. It looked like he was going to pick up a win, but he's dropped all the way back to 5th. That's about where he's been all season long. I think he's capable of more than that.
Led for 9 laps, to be exact, as we take a look at Mike LaRocco. He doesn't look like he's slowing down a bit. And the checkered flag for Mike LaRocco. Just in front of MK, number 7, Mike Kudrowski. Emig will be on the podium in 3rd. McGrath 4th. Henry 5th. Ward will be in 6th. And the best finish of his first Supercross season, Albertine, is next in the order. A disappointment, of course, for Jeremy McGrath. His streak has been broken. He is dejected as LaRocco has put new energy into this series. We'll be back. Of Power Wheels on ESPN2 has been brought to you by Honda, defending champions and holders of the past 7 consecutive Supercross titles. Honda, come ride with us. And by Suzuki. Right now, your Suzuki dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it. So a history of sorts has been made here tonight. The first winner that wasn't Jeremy McGrath on the season. Mike LaRocco, Mike Kudrowski, Jeff Emig. What a great battle that was, with Jeremy McGrath up banging bars as well.
It was one of the best battles I've seen amongst so many riders so late in the race.
Let's hear from Jeremy.
Jeremy, you had a tough race tonight, and then, of course, you had that contact with Mike Craig. Was that what slowed you down, not being able to get the momentum, or was the bike hurt?
No, the bike was fine. It's just track was real rutted, technical. Once I fell into Mike there, I mean, kind of my fault, and lost all my momentum. Then I caught back up and then started making some mistakes again. It was a really bad mentally race for me. I mean, I'll get it back, can't win them all.
But now, doesn't that kind of take the pressure off a little? You don't have to worry about strings. You can just go out and, I mean, everyone's always gunning for you. Does it actually maybe help you that they beat you once, now you can go back after them again?
Yeah, it brings you back down to reality. I mean, next week I'll train harder and, you know, come back and win.
Well, it's a great race. We enjoyed it.
Thanks.
Jeremy McGrath still with a lead of 23 points. LaRocco 1 point ahead of Ward. MK just 12 in back of Larry Ward.
Mike, not only did you get that first victory, but that had to be a great race for you.
Yeah, it was nice to finally get up there and see what was going on. You know, I knew where everybody was at. I could see what was happening, and you know, I put myself in the right place, and you know, I made the passes when I could, and it paid off.
Now, your teammates said the difference was that you guys were going to try and race the racetrack instead of racing Jeremy and the others. Was that something that helped you too?
No, I think what he does is different than me. You know, I've been out there racing, you know, 100% all the time. I just had my problems, and you know, that time I struggled early in the race. I made mistakes. I just, you know, wide open, and I made it back up.
You think it was the rough track? Did that make the difference for you?
The ruts, you know, made it real easy to make mistakes, and you know, I felt good in practice. I felt good all day, so you know, I was comfortable.
Now, what was the toughest move you had to make during the race to take a position?
It was really hard to say. You just got to be cautious because, you know, not everybody was riding straight out there, and you just had to, you know, make sure you didn't get taken out and ride, but still ride aggressive.
Hey, congratulations.
Thanks.
Well, is there now some realistic hope of bringing this series back to a competitive realm, David?
Oh, I think so. That's definitely the best race I've seen this whole season, and LaRocco takes a huge chunk out of McGrath's points lead.
Has the spell been broken, or will the two-time champion come back? We'll be with us from Indianapolis our next time around.